The purpose of this video is clarification for your assignment on chapters 24 and 25. If you haven't read them, I would read them first, otherwise this video is not going to make a lot of sense. It'll also give away all the spoilers. So what you have to do is incomplete sentences. So incomplete, not incomplete, but writing in full sentences, answer the following questions. Sometimes you're going to need a page number. It'll tell you if you do. So on page 194, it says that only pharmacists and coffin makers are making a profit. Why is that during a fever epidemic? Pretty obvious. But then, do you think it's fair that they're increasing their prices because people need coffins? They need, pharmacists sells medicine. They need medicine. Do you think it's fair that they're increasing their profits to meet this new need? Next is we've talked about several characters, how like Silas might be one of these people, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Those would have been the 4 constant characters that reappear that bring first a desire for something. Sometimes it's called conquest. Then they bring war and fighting. And then the 3rd horseman will bring disease or hurt. Usually he's symbolized by a scale, a balance. Then after that, death and the Grim Reaper comes to kill those that were weighed by disease and hurt. They were weighed to be wanting. So then the Grim Reaper would take their souls. So we talked about how the one who seems to always be around death was Silas. What I would like you to do is figure out what about the others. So start figuring out characters who you think is who and then write them in. For example, maybe you think death isn't Silas the cat. Maybe you think it's Maddie because everywhere Maddie goes, people tend to die. So you could explain that. No page numbers required. The next one says on 197, Joseph's sadness was threatening to pull Maddie in. So reread the sentences around there. Explain what it means that his sadness was threatening to pull her in. And then explain why, in your opinion, didn't Maddie get pulled in? Why was she able to resist his sadness pulling her in? Next, on page 222, it talks about the sword. Now, I bring this up because foreshadowing is when an author gives you a clue how something is going to end, good or bad. How does Maddie picking up the sword let you know the children are going to be okay? What is it about the sword? What does it mean? The next one is on the next page, 203. There's this quote, night melted into day, day surrendered to night. What is the battle between night and day? You don't have to write about that. We kind of know one can't exist without the other. You know, they can't be there at the same time. But who do you think is winning in this chapter? Find some pages, 3 pieces of evidence, and cite and prove that either night or day is winning. Look very carefully at this and you've got your first one, right? Day surrendered tonight. Should be pretty obvious who's winning. You can only use chapters 24 and 25. There's a lot of night and day talk in chapter 25. The next one, on pages 205 and 206, Maddie and Eliza debate on bleeding the kids. Do you think they made the right choice? You can cite 3 things. You don't even need a page number. Just say 3 places where you think there's proof that they made a good choice or a bad choice. If you think taking blood is a good choice because it saved Mother, then you would want to write that down. If you think taking blood was a bad choice because of whatever, you explain why. Lastly, Maddie passes out at the end of chapter 25, and of course, she thinks of Blanchard's yellow balloon, the big yellow balloon that he released in the very beginning of the book. Why do you think that's the first thing she thinks about when she passes out? When she wants to be comforted, when she doesn't want to feel bad anymore, she thinks about the yellow balloon, even after all of these deaths. Why do you think she's thinking about the yellow balloon? You write your answers in here. You'll notice that this is an assignment, so you can actually submit it to the same place you got it from. Turn it in, make sure it's done for Friday so we can all talk about it as a class.